So I got asked a great question this week, and it was, how do I get my swimmers to swim fast, especially those athletes who have trouble finding that next gear? So I took this as an opportunity to just answer how I would do it with my practices and my athletes. The first thing I would say is just telling your kids to swim fast is usually not the answer, because you're going to have your athletes who lean towards swimming fast and those who don't. I want to say that it's not that they don't want to swim fast. I don't think they know what it means to go 100%. And your more natural athletes, or what people would call your natural athletes, sometimes they're not necessarily the best technique wise, but man, when it's race time and when it's time to turn it on, they are the absolute best at doing that. But the number one thing I do with my athletes, especially when I'm trying to get them to swim fast without me constantly pestering them to swim fast, is I put them in a situation where swimming fast is required. And there's two main levers I pull. One, it involves their team or teammates. Like they're doing something with somebody else, and it's competitive. So I'm gonna say three things. So one, it involves the people around them, whether that's one partner, two partner, a relay, a small group. Two, that it's competitive. So there has to be some sort of trying to win here, right? We're trying to win. When you're trying to win, it's usually when you get athletes to swim the fastest. And three, that there is accountability or consequences to not swimming fast without you saying, hey, you better swim fast here or else you're going to get punished, which I'm not completely against that. Like, we've done things with goal times where if you hit your goal time, you're good. If you don't hit your goal time, like we have burpees, especially when we're doing stuff on bigger rest, and we have time to do that, where, things like the burpees aren't supposed to be killer. It's just like a slight nudge, like, okay, if you don't do this, you're going to get burpees. So let's break those down. One, doing it with the people around you. I'm a big relay coach. Like, we do relays multiple times a week at practice, not just because they're fun, but because swimmers swim fast when they are doing relays. And, one of my favorite relay sets is just partner relays. You get person A and person B, and they're going to do a relay just them. But they're each going to do a 50 free, and they have a goal time for that 100. And that goal time is based off their best 50 freestyle times. Add those two times together, and then add 5 to 6 seconds. Usually is a good place to start. If you add 4 seconds or less, that gets a lot harder to do at practice. But so for example, swimmer A goes at 30, swimmer B goes at 31. You add those together, that's 101. And then I'm going to add 5 to that. So their goal time is 106. And we'll do things where, like, hey, we're going to do 5 of these 100s on 230. So each of them is really doing a 50 on 230. And you either hit or miss your goal time. If you miss it, you have 10 burpees, right? So something like that. And a set like that, also, you don't get into trouble with, like, your faster swimmers and your slower swimmers. Like, it just comes down to, like, people working together to swim fast. I've also done that same goal setting mindset with bigger relay groups. Or I do things where I try to even out the relays and we're all going to race. Or I put together a faster relay and a slower relay, but I set it up in chase format. So we'll do a bunch of 25s, and the relay A is faster, relay B is slower, but I'm going to give relay B a 10-second head start. And we're going to do continuous 25s, where relay A has, I'm going to say, 3 minutes. We're going to go nonstop for 3 minutes, whatever the amount of times you swim there. For 3 minutes, you have 3 minutes to catch this other relay. And so if it's a relay with, like, only 3 or 4 people, right, everybody's going to get to swim 3 to 5 times in that relay. I mean, just depending, right? If everybody goes 15 seconds for all 3 people to go, it's going to take 45 seconds. And if you're going for 3 minutes, everybody's going to do 4 25s, max effort, which is really good. Like, you're just going to get great effort out of them naturally. So doing things as a team. And then competitively, I love setting up competitive situations without making it a big deal, because they will naturally swim fast. And this isn't just relays or we're going to get off the blocks and race. I'll just say, like, hey, we're going to do 10 25s fast here, and we're just going to organize lanes so you're next to somebody that would be good to race. And I don't tell them how fast to go. I just start sticking 2 people next to each other And it doesn't always work 100% of the time, but they do have to learn how to do it on their own. So, I got swimmer A, B, and C, and they both push off on the first one, and swimmer C wins. And swimmer B is like, well, I don't want them to beat me. And then on the next one, swimmer B wins, and then swimmer A is like, well, okay. And then by number 4 or 5, they are like gunning for it. And then I jump in as the coach, and I give a little nudge, and I say to like swimmer C, I'm like, oh, hey, you won the first one, so what happened since then? And whatever, right? Whatever they say, I just give them a little nudge like, hey, you could be competitive here. Or I give them a tool where I'm like, all right, if you're really trying to be faster, you're going to breathe less and kick harder, something like that. Or you're going to have faster underwaters. And I start coaching them like that. But I don't coach them like, you better breathe less, you better do underwaters. I give it up to them. I say, if you want to go faster, this is what you will have to do. The kids who want to go fast do this. So I give them the opportunity through the coaching, not just by demanding them to go faster, right? Which we can all do that. And yes, it will work. But man, telling kids to go fast every single day, like having to drag the speed out of them, it gets old, and I don't think it's that productive. So, and then that last thing I said, accountability or consequence. I talked about the burpees, but like positive accountability, right? You get 2 kids up to go a 50 free off the blocks as fast as possible, and you tell them, hey, you need to be within a second of your best time, and everybody will get out of this next set. And it's up to these 2 people to perform for the whole team. And I will pick people who are not like your fastest or your go-to people, because I want to put that person in a spotlight. Like, the spotlight really matters. At meets, you can do that as well with putting kids on an anchor spot for a relay. The anchor doesn't always have to be the fastest person. A lot of times I organize relays where I think I will get the best out of somebody. So automatically, first spot, last spot can feel more pressure, like how we start and how we finish. But especially on a 200 freestyle relay, we call it shotgunning it, where you go fastest to slowest. You might have a lead, and it's going to be up to that last leg to hold on to it or fight for it. And, we don't always win because we do things like that. But in a relay, I just want to see them faster than their best time. You get that moving start. So that relay start, you're going to be better no matter what. So that's just going to be a great opportunity for them. Another way we put kids in situations is, right, there's get out swims, there's a consequence. There's also like the chance to do something else. So like we'll have a max effort part of practice, and then from there we'll go into 2 paths. And the missing your time path doesn't have to be like this big negative thing. It could just be something different. So I don't know what you want to do there, but you can get creative, and I'm not against writing 2 different parts of practice for 2 different groups. And I like to remind kids, like, performance matters. And so like let's just take that idea, and for example, okay, everybody, we're going to go 50 free all out. If you're within a second of your best time, which is pretty tough for most athletes, if you're within a second of your best time, you will go and do this. If you are not within a second, you will do this. And let's just say if you succeed, then the set is a little more fun, and then the other set is just a little more boring. And that's going to be the next 20 minutes of practice, is these 2 sets, right? But after about 7 minutes into this set, you're going to give everybody a second chance. Be like, okay, here's your chance to get out of this set, and you'll slide on over to the other set, which is a little more fun, or let's just say different, like you have it with fins or something like that. And you give them another chance to step up. And then you, as the coach, you can follow up with your athletes and say, like, well, why didn't we do it the first time? And just talk to it through them, because going max effort, swimming fast at practice is a skill. That's why it's really hard to take 12-year-olds and say, hey, we're going to do 5 100s all out. I want you within 2 seconds of your lifetime best time. Sometimes they struggle with that sort of thing if they are fast enough. Than your more experienced athletes would be. When your more experienced athletes are much better at going max effort. So that's how I get more out of my athletes, not just through telling them to go faster, but by set design, by putting them in groups, by adding accountability, and my coaching nudges throughout. And then, as always, no matter what you're teaching your athletes, you always need to close the loop. So you bring it all together at the end, and then when you bring it all together at the end, you just teach them a lesson or something, remind them of something, and then you hold on to that lesson. You can remind them another time or use it to teach them something, because all the athletes we're trying to coach, we're trying to teach them something. So if you love this, I had put together an entire coaching course on not just writing workouts, but of developing a season plan, coaching technique with a ton of technique videos, and motivating your athletes to be better. It's called the Swim Coach Launchpad. It's the biggest, most intensive course I've put out. So go on and head over to betterswimcoach.com and check it out. If you got questions, let's see them in the comments.